Morning everyone, nice to see you all. Good to go? Okay, great. Well, hello. I'm here again today for the daily briefing with the Police Superintendent David Cooper, Essential Energy's Mark Summers, Transgrid's Sam Pickering, Joanna Quilty from the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority, and of course Member for Barwon, Roy Butler. I can just update people that I understand that there are 10 customers currently without power, but this is a localised fault. This is not to do with the rest of the situation, not related to the current outages. Everyone else is online. Last night, as one of Essential Energy's 4 portable generators tripped, this meant again the power was cut to around 1,800 customers in Menindee, Sunset Strip, Kinalung, Wilcannia, White Cliffs, Milparinka, Packsaddle, Tipperburra, Mount Gibbs, Stevens Creek and surrounding rural properties. Power was restored to these towns within about an hour. In Broken Hill, power supply remained on for the 5th night in a row, thanks to the network of generators and, of course, the AGL solar battery, which continues to discharge overnight. Essential Energy and Transgrid are not planning any outages in the next 48 hours. The Transgrid towers are up. I'm able to report today that Transgrid is working to return the transmission line into service by this Saturday, the 2nd of November. They had previously estimated the 6th of November, and again, we're very grateful for the efforts. The sooner this is back up, the better for everyone. This means the region will be connected to the main grid soon. I want to outline to the community the process for returning the primary power supply. We expect that homes and businesses in Broken Hill will see no difference or interruption to their power supply when switching from the backup generator to the main line. The Perilia mine will experience a short outage of around 1 hour, and they are planned and ready for this. Once Transgrid has returned the transmission line into service, Essential Energy will then work to switch on the other towns outside Broken Hill back to the primary power supply. These communities are currently supplied by the mobile generators at Essential Energy's Pinnacle Places substation. That means that Menindee, Sunset Strip, Kinalong, Wilcannia, White Cliffs, Milparinka, Packsaddle, Tipperburra, Mount Gibbs, Stevens Creek and the surrounding rural properties will experience an outage when the changeover occurs. My current advice is that the communities can expect around a 3-hour outage. We obviously can't guarantee the exact outage period, but please know that everyone involved wants all communities restored to the main power supply as soon as possible, and Essential Energy will keep communicating with people and households and customers via SMS about when this is going to occur. At the moment, we expect the changeover will occur by Saturday. We'll provide an update if that changes at all. After re-energisation, there's been some questions about what's happening with the backup generators, and obviously they will stay in place for as long as required. Transgrid will retain those extra generators at the substation until both the large-scale generators are fully refurbished. I want to update people on bills. As people are aware, we've been in contact with retailers to defer bills. There's been some questions about this. I'm very pleased that Origin and Energy Australia have agreed to defer bills in a short period. There's obviously smaller retailers. We are working with them, and I would really ask them to do that. If people are receiving bills and they've got questions, actually going into Service New South Wales or into the recovery access centres will be able to assist. There's questions about, whether you'll be charged for your solar and for all of those fixed costs. We're working through those issues, but I have asked all of the retailers to make sure that people aren't charged for electricity that they weren't able to use, and we'll continue to update people in relation to this. The New South Wales Government Recovery Access Point in Broken Hill is open again today and tomorrow. People would be aware it's a one-stop shop with Service New South Wales, the Reconstruction Authority, Legal Aid, Vinnie's, Red Cross and the Insurance Council. I think we had over 200 people go through there yesterday, and they're coming through again. Hot tip, actually the afternoons are quieter than the mornings if you want to wait a little while, but you can come in, and if there's a line you'll be out of the sun as well, which is important given it's such a warm day. The recovery points are also for businesses as well. Of course, we know that businesses can't get away from their business during the day, so I just want to make sure that people are aware that they can make a call to Service New South Wales, and we'll actually send someone from the business concierge team out to see you to give you a hand. The number for that is 137788. So we're able to provide support. Obviously, there's a lot of insurance questions that businesses have, and so we really want people to reach out. There are people who can point you in the right direction and really help you out. The Reconstruction Authority has held the drop-in sessions in Menindee and Wilcannia yesterday. They are at Whitecliffs and Tippaborough today. 1,000 food vouchers and 1,000 fuel vouchers are being distributed, and they're available at those points. We're delivering the 1,000 food hampers. They've started to roll out. We're also ordering more. I can advise that we've got, and look, I might actually leave the rest of that to Joanna to go through the details of how the food hampers are there, but there's been some dropped to Silverton, Menindee and Wilcannia. If people have left their details about getting them, they'll actually be dropped to them. So that system is working and they'll be rolled out over the next couple of days. In relation to the $200 and the $400 support payments for households and businesses, I've said this before, but just to be really clear with people, Service New South Wales are working on the system for that. We expect that people will be able to apply for those next week. They are not available yet. In the meantime, that's why we have the vouchers, and that's why you should get in contact and we'll deal with that. I also just wanted to welcome, there's been some really great support coming in from the community, not just at that local level where people have shared generators, checked in on neighbours and those kind of things. The Mounties group, which is one of the biggest clubs in New South Wales, is donating a significant amount of support to the community. I'll let Roy run through with that, but I just really wanted to thank them. Every little bit helps, and it's great to see that sort of support. The Broken Hill Musicians Club will be distributing a lot of this support, and I know that Michael Boland's been really important in relation to this, and thank him for all of his efforts in relation to this. I'll finish with how I have said every single day. The overnight peaks are challenging. It's going to be hot over the next couple of days. I just want to say to people, this is not me blaming you for using energy. The important part of this is we're trying to stabilise the grid in the backup situation. If people can just reduce their usage a little bit, that really helps for everyone else to make sure that we don't have load shedding. And because of people's efforts, we've been able to do that. So again, turn off the lights that you don't need. As it gets hotter, can you have your air conditioning probably a little bit warmer than you would normally have it? If you can turn off appliances that you don't need. If you can do your washing or your dishwashing during the day, we'd really ask you to do it. It makes a really, really small efforts make a really big difference, and it actually keeps everyone online. With that, though, I think I might hand over, and I think the next person to speak is going to be Superintendent Dave Cooper.
Thank you, Minister. Could I firstly say I would really like to thank the Minister and her staff for the wonderful way that they've engaged with the community and all of the stakeholders in the emergency management arena. It's been a real challenge for everybody involved. But I'd also like to again acknowledge the community and the great way that they've embraced all of these changes and all of these challenges that we've put before them. But I can assure you that from a policing point of view, our policing services remain at full capacity and our business continuity remains in place, and we look forward just as much as everyone else as the power returning. So thank you. And again, Minister, thank you to you and your staff. Thank you.
Thanks to the police for hosting us. Sam?
Pleasure. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Just by the way of saying, just like to start with a huge thanks to all of the customers in our outlying areas for their patience. Once again, last night we did have one of the generators at Pinnacle's Place actually failed, and a sensor has been the cause of that. So staff last night very quickly were at the site and have replaced that sensor in that third generator. We still do have another generator as a spare backup unit there on site. And we are running with the full competent generators tonight. So those generators will be all online tonight. We do, as the Minister said, we do still push the messaging, particularly around if anyone is capable and feels safe enough to turn their solars off. So please continue to do that while we go through the next couple of days prior to restoration of the transmission network. And also just with that load management for hot waters, we are giving some extra boost through the day and also some extra boost of an evening with the generation and to make sure that hot waters get enough heating for all those customers out there. We also have, as the Minister talked to, we will be sending some messaging out to those customers in those outlying communities, because we will need to have another interruption to the supply whilst we change over off the generation at Pinnacle's Place for the essential energy generation and back onto the transmission network. So we will put some notification out, some messaging out to all of our customers in those areas around that when we know our actual time frame of that outage. So again, just like to thank customers for their patience. And our teams will be out and about over the next couple of days, so please reach out if we can be of any further assistance. Thank you.
Over the last 24 hours, we were able to successfully lift all of the high voltage conductors into place along the 7 emergency response structures. This has been an exceptional effort by our entire Transgrid team here on the ground in Broken Hill, and I would like to reiterate my thanks to everyone involved. We are now working through the process of tensioning, securing and testing the lines that supply mains power to Far West New South Wales. I would also like to mention that today Transgrid are conducting a full inspection of the 250 kilometre line from Broken Hill to Baronga. This significant progress means that we expect to bring the transmission line back into service by this Saturday, November 2nd, noting that our backup generation has continued to provide uninterrupted supply to Broken Hill over the past 5 days, supported by the microgrid. In terms of what the community can expect, when the works and testing have been completed, the switch over to the transmission line will take place without interrupting the power supply to the community here in Broken Hill. For some rural communities outside of Broken Hill that are currently being supplied by Essential Energy's backup generation, we understand that Essential will need to undertake an outage to switch power from the portable generators to the main supply, and they will advise customers directly in advance. Looking forward to next steps, Transgrid is now planning for the installation of the permanent towers, and the current additional backup generation will remain in place as added resilience to the Broken Hill grid. I would like to finish by restating my sincere thanks to the Broken Hill community and surrounding regions for their patience and support, to the New South Wales Government, Essential Energy and the emergency services personnel that have supported our emergency response. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So yesterday was a really busy day with the opening of our recovery assistance point in Broken Hill and our outreach locations at Menindee and Wilcannia. There was a great deal of interest at those outreach locations, with lots of community members showing up, very keen to understand what support was on offer, and it was a really good opportunity to distribute our vouchers, to get registrations or interest in the hampers, which are going to be delivered over the next few days, and also just a great opportunity to engage with community members and hear their stories, and they were very appreciative of that. In Broken Hill alone, we had 232 community members come through our recovery assistance point. That was to access some of the wonderful support and assistance that we had on hand there. So people were able to engage with mental health services and talk through any issues there. They were certainly able to sit with Vinnies and go through the process of accessing a voucher, either for food or for fuel. We had people on hand providing advice on tricky legal issues, on insurance, and there was a really great sense of collaboration, of people, again, being very appreciative of the opportunity. I do want to thank our partner organisations, especially those from the NGO sector that were there in the room. With such high interest, it was an incredibly busy day for them. There wasn't very much downtime. In many instances, they needed to bring in additional staff, but they just powered through, and they were so professional and polite and caring in the support that they provided. So I really want to give a big shout out to them and the fantastic job that they did. As I said, overall, there has been this great sense of appreciation, and I want to thank the community for that as well. It has been a very frustrating and uncertain time for people, and yet their engagement with us at the recovery assistance point and at the outreach locations has been nothing but respectful, a really calm and positive environment, and we're really pleased for that. In terms of today, it is another busy day. We're in White Cliffs at the White Cliffs Sporting Club and also in Tibooburra at the Albert Hall. I think already we've had something like 30 or more people through at White Cliffs, and we've got the Tibooburra Progress Association on site and meeting with our staff, which is giving us some really useful information. In terms of our recovery assistance point in Broken Hill, when we dropped in this morning, it had really only just opened and already it was really humming. We've been able to secure the Civic Centre next door so that those waiting are able to wait in air conditioning and some comfort, but obviously lots of interest and lots of demand. And so that means that we will be here next week. Our recovery assistance point in Broken Hill is open again tomorrow. It will also be open next week, and we're looking at what other outreach locations we need to attend, because we're very mindful that we do need to get out to those outlying communities that aren't going to be able to make it into Broken Hill. We've ordered more hampers, as the Minister said, and we will, as I said, continue to look at where we need to be doing outreach. If people are interested in the hampers, it's really important that in Broken Hill they ring the salvos. We're not distributing the hampers at the actual recovery assistance point. The number to call is 0880 875 114, and they will be delivered by partner organisations over the coming days. In other locations, you're able to register with the team on site. So I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Minister, and thanks, everyone. I think we can all agree it's really good news that the estimated time for restoration has been brought forward to the 2nd. And I'm also very pleased to hear that it's been confirmed that those redundancy measures are going to stay in place at Pinnacles Point. That's really, really important to make sure that we're not left in a situation where if something goes wrong, we don't have power. Broken Hill's a long way from the sort of equipment we need to power this area, so keeping it here gives us an extra blanket of security. I do want to talk about community support, and I want to thank all of those who are making generous donations whilst Transgrid and Essential Energy get the power back up and running. It is a massive effort from government, private sector and community organisations. Just on Mounties, and I know the Minister touched on this, Mounties is the biggest club group in New South Wales and is partnering with the Broken Hill Musicians Club to support the community with tangible, psychological, financial and social support through a $100,000 donation received by the Broken Hill Musicians Club and Wilcannia Golf Club for the broken people via to be used for, as required, support power and food, water, donation of a pallet of water. It was delivered this week. Hosting a Beers for Broken Hill social event at the Broken Hill Musicians Club in December of 24. We'll confirm that date later, with live music and an opportunity for the community to get together. To date, the money that the Mounties have put on the table has secured 1,000 litres of diesel for the community of Menindee, 800 litres of diesel for the Wilcannia Golf Club to continue to support that community, $5,300 food vouchers to restock spoiled food, a generator for the Wilcannia Safe House, a generator for Broken Hill Meals on Wheels, a generator for the Broken Hill Community Chemist. You might remember that story where a chemist had a generator knocked off and lost tens of thousands of dollars worth of medicines. So they've got a generator back in place. There's a lot of other groups, and I'm probably not going to get them all. That's always the risk, isn't it, when you start talking about acknowledging people who have helped, but I'm going to have a go. So Rotary Broken Hill, they ran 2 sausage sizzles here in the town to get the community together at a time when we didn't have power, so people could have a feed. Meat donated by Top End Meats, and the deli donated drinks and cakes. You know, this is a community that's just come together. And it's not just in Broken Hill. In White Cliffs, the hotel out there, they had a generator running. They were offering people space in their freezer. And Blue out at White Cliffs, your portable cool room or your shipping container, refrigerated shipping container, was a godsend. Thank you. The RFS obviously came out early with generators with Starlink. Thank you. They came out early with generators, Starlink and other resources for those communities, mobile cool rooms again. And here in Broken Hill, Barker Electrical, they donated the generator install for Meals on Wheels. That's a really nice thing. So I'm really pleased that we've got some better news today, and hopefully from here the news continues to improve. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes. Have there been any updates on the conversation with the mines, especially with that date potentially being brought forward as well?
Look, I think that what the mines really need, and when I'm now very confident they're going to get, is when are the mines going to be confidently on so that they can do the cleanup that they need to do to get back to processing as quickly as possible. This date is really helpful in terms of the way that their rosters operate. It means they can do stage 1, which is the cleanup and ready to go, and we're hoping that everything going according to plan, by Wednesday things will actually be back up and running. So that's good news. Let's just wait and see how all of the connection goes. If that does, then the good news is that people are back to work.
And any thoughts on further chases for compensation from after they've lost so many millions of dollars?
Look, we're working through all of that. There's the sort of disaster recovery work with the federal government, which is ongoing, but hopefully not too much longer. And there's a lot of discussions to be had, as we know. I know that the Mayor is very interested in all of this. We continue to work through that, but that's going to take a little while.
Okay. Just a question for Sam as well. So, obviously with this being now brought forward to hopefully Saturday, if everything goes to plan, that's just in time for Sunday, which according to estimations at the moment, going to be about 38 degrees. Plenty of people are going to be obviously looking to turn on their air conditioning, things like that. How confident are you that the restored grid, if everything goes to plan, will be able to handle all that?
I think first and foremost, I would like to reiterate currently, right now, we are continuing to operate in an emergency response situation. The work that the team's doing on the ground and the progress that's being made has allowed us to bring that time frame forward, and that is good news. We believe that by Saturday we will have it back into service, which means from that point on we can expect to maintain a stable supply to Broken Hill.
Okay. And with those generators also staying in place as a backup, does that provide further security as well?
It does. So as we've worked on this response, we have provided additional resilience to the grid, and that's been demonstrated. As I've said, we've continued to provide that power supply for 5 days, over 5 days now. That will stay in place as we continue to work on those gas turbines, and as a result, the grid will be more resilient.
You did also touch on the fact that next steps, there will be work proceeding to work on permanent towers, etc. Can people expect that work will be starting from next week, or is it a little bit more complicated than that?
Look, we're maintaining our focus on the emergency response because that is the phase that we're in right now. Once we get that work completed, we will move into that recovery phase, and the team will be working on planning that more permanent response, and we'll continue to keep you updated.
Okay. And just a quick question for Roy as well. So, Roy, only a few days ago you spoke about it's important to have the federal government represented as well. We've just recently heard from Mark Colton, the federal member for Parks, for a very similar area to yours, and he talked about the airport situation, how if there was an upgraded airport, it might have actually helped getting the generators out here more quickly, much more efficient response time. Obviously, you're very well aware of the ongoing upgrades at the airport as well, wondering if you might have any thoughts or similar expressions or anything like that.
Look, those upgrades to the airport were required before this disaster. I suppose what this disaster has shown us, and disasters by their very nature, you don't get much warning normally, it's shown us that that upgrade's probably more important than ever. I don't think there's any disagreement between state and federal government that it needs to happen. I think where the rub is who's going to pay and how much.
And where do you stand on that?
Oh, look, I just want it done. I don't mind where the money comes from. There's a whole lot of benefits, not just in terms of emergency management, but in terms of potentially cheaper airfares for locals, but also more access for tourists, more access for allied health and health professionals to get in here and provide services. The current situation we've got with that runway as it is means that it's got to be replaced. It's not just something that we would like to do. It's actually got to be replaced. And in the process of replacing it, strengthening it would mean that we could do more with it.
Okay, that's everything for me. Thanks, guys.
Good, thanks everyone.
Thanks.